studying social theory, so I tried to explore social theoretical significance of this performance in November, March 21st this year, because this shows some very interesting new dimension which require us to move from traditional way of thinking to a more theoretical understanding of this phenomena. Now, I think do we have all this book? We had this conference last year in October about the 40 years conferences of Jungmin theory. I developed the theory in the middle of the 1980s, and this shows kind of a dialogue when participants express from diverse perspectives. But one of the main conclusions that we arrived through this dialogue was that we are moving toward a new world. And how we describe this new world, that is a question, and I call the in-between common world. And I see this BTS performance this year shows how we move toward a in-between common world, and it shows a very much interesting aspect of this movement. So therefore, I started to reinterpret the significance of BTS after 2026 from my own theoretical perspective. That is my major motive of this presentation. So it was very much communicative, not just showing kind of entertainment, very much communicative, addressing themselves to each part, particularly the army, how deeply they were preparing themselves to meet the army, their friend, you know, and how army responded to this performance. That was very much interactive, and I thought it suggests kind of a new dimension, how this new world is coming up, you know. So particularly when we think about the public sphere in terms of Habermas, okay, Habermas talks about very deliberative, rational discourse. This is very important, of course, but nonetheless, the world in which we are living is not just a deliberative, rational discourse, but it is deeply interwoven with the emotion kind of a thing, interactive flow of human relationship, you know, sensory judgment. So I thought it shows some kind of new way of understanding or theorizing about the new world in which we are moving into. And that is what I call in-between common world. Because empirical indicates empirical cases in which we can substantiate the conception of in-between common world. That is why I am deeply involved in undertaking research on BTS and army. So I'm preparing a book in English about this army and BTS, but I am just a beginner, so I'm not really expert on that field. But there's a lot of researchers, you know, who are doing that kind of research. But I know them very well. I know their literature very well. But I am a sociologist. I'm theoretically interested in sociologist. So communication is always embodied in kind of a symbol interaction. One is in between. One is not just in one camp or the other camp, or it is in between. So in betweenness is a very important concept. BTS itself is a kind of in between kind of existence. Army is also shows how they are in between, you know, something like that. So we need to comprehend the full meaning of what we mean by in between, or in between subjectivity, or in between common world, which is very different from very much a polarized worldview that we are very accustomed to.